Japan is making headlines with its bold move, record minimum wage hikes. It's a decision that has economists, businesses, and workers buzzing, and it could be a turning point for the nation's economy. But let's dig into what this means. Will it spark a long-awaited economic recovery, or is it just a shiny band-aid over deeper issues? And hey, let's not forget to sprinkle in a few laughs along the way. We're talking about economics, not a funeral. Japan's minimum wage hike is no small deal. The average hourly rate is set to rise by a record 41 yen, bringing it to 1,004 yen, crossing the 1,000 yen mark for the first time ever. Now, for those of you thinking, big deal, what's 1,000 yen? That's roughly $6.75. In global terms, it's still modest, but for Japan, this is groundbreaking. It's like finally upgrading from instant ramen to gourmet ramen. Sure, it's still ramen, but hey, progress is progress. This hike comes at a time when Japan is grappling with inflation, a shrinking workforce, and stagnant wages. Inflation in Japan is running above 3%, and while that might not seem like much compared to some other countries, it's a shocker for a nation that has battled deflation for decades. Imagine a country where prices barely budge for years, and then suddenly, everything gets pricier. It's like showing up to your favorite sushi spot and finding out the tuna nigiri costs twice as much. Heartbreaking, right? Now, the government is pushing this wage hike as a way to stimulate domestic consumption. The logic is simple. If workers earn more, they'll spend more, boosting the economy. It's kind of like giving your wallet a little pep talk. Come on, buddy, let's go shopping. But is it that straightforward? Economists are split. Some argue that higher wages will lead to higher costs for businesses, which could end up being passed down to consumers. Others believe it's a necessary gamble to pull Japan out of its economic funk. Let's talk about businesses for a second. For big corporations, this wage hike is probably just a blip on the radar. They've got the resources to adapt. But for small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, which make up the backbone of Japan's economy, this could be a game changer. And not necessarily in a good way. These businesses are already struggling with rising costs for raw materials and utilities. Throw in higher wages, and it's like asking someone to juggle while riding a unicycle on a tightrope. Spoiler alert, it might not end well. On the flip side, this could force businesses to innovate. Automation, streamlining operations, finding more efficient ways to operate, these could all become priorities. Who knows? Maybe we'll see a surge in robot sushi chefs and AI-powered ramen shops. For workers, this is undoubtedly a win, at least in the short term. A higher minimum wage means more money in their pockets, which is crucial given rising living costs. But there's a catch. If businesses can't handle the pressure and start cutting jobs or hours, workers might not feel the benefits for long. It's like being handed a bigger slice of cake, only to find out there's no frosting. Sure, it's better than nothing, but is it really satisfying? This move also ties into Japan's larger strategy to address its labor shortage. With one of the world's oldest populations, the country is desperate to attract and retain workers. A higher minimum wage could make certain industries more appealing, especially for younger workers or part-time employees. But let's be real. No one's quitting their dream of becoming a manga artist to work at a convenience store, no matter how much the minimum wage increases. Now, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Japan's economic recovery hinges on more than just wages. Structural reforms, innovation, and tackling its demographic challenges are all critical pieces of the puzzle. The minimum wage hike is like adding a splash of soy sauce to a dish. It enhances the flavor, but it's not the main ingredient. So, will this record wage hike be the catalyst Japan needs? It's too early to tell. Economists, policymakers, and business leaders are watching closely. And let's not forget the workers who are counting on this to make their lives a little easier. What do you think? Is this a bold step toward recovery, or is it a gamble that might backfire? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your take on this. And hey, before you go, Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown and subscribe for more insights into global trends and stories that matter. Let's keep learning and laughing together. Until next time, stay informed and remember, the only inflation you want is in your knowledge, not your grocery bill.